My name is Susan, and I'm the owner-operator of Our Homestead Quilting. Primarily, my business is people bring me their quilt tops, batting and backing. My machine does the quilting design on there to hold the 3 layers together. This is my first one and only. I started it almost 5 years ago. I got the machine, it'll be 5 years in November. Played around with it for a while, and by January of 2015, I started doing customer quilts. No, we moved here about 7.5 years ago, and my husband's job brought us here. He worked in oil and gas, and that's what brought us out here. It's interesting. Being out here, especially not just being in a rural area, but being out where we are, it's quiet. Foot traffic is pretty much non-existent, but we're enjoying it. We're enjoying being here and running our business from here. It was purely selfish. I had had a smaller home machine for doing my own quilting. It wasn't big enough for me to expand and do quilting for other people. And I wanted a bigger machine, couldn't justify spending that kind of money just for me. So the idea of quilting for other people came about, and I jumped in both feet. I've been quilting for about 25 years. I had a smaller machine, which was on just a 10-foot table. This one's a 14. Just a lot of it was self-taught for the quilting itself. When you buy from APQS, they give you a new owner's class. Comes included with it. Went to Edmonton. It was a full-day class learning the ins and outs of the machine. And I've taken 3 courses for the Quilt Path software, which is the computerized module that does my quilting for me. Well, besides getting my name out being in a rural area, the service is in the States. I mean, like I say, they are wonderful. You can phone them. Most of the stuff they can walk you through on the phone. I have had to send the machine back to be redone. A screw or something fell down and got in one of the belts, and the machine just would not operate properly. It was down there about 3 weeks, but they sent me a loaner machine to use in the meantime. So, I mean, like I say, customer service is great. That would probably be the biggest thing, is if a part goes missing, I have to order it out of the States, or, you know, if something goes wrong. But other than that one issue, and we have no idea why that screw got loose and ended up where it did, but the machine works great. Very happy with it. That would be, I had a customer who brought me a quilt. It had been a block of the month, where you do a different block every month. So you're not entirely sure what the quilt is going to look like. And she finished it and she brought it to me, and she's like, I don't even like it. It's done. It needs to be quilted. I'll give it away or whatever. So I quilted it up for her, and when I gave it back to her and she looked at it, she was like, I love my quilt. She said, I really didn't think that I would ever really like this quilt anymore. She said, but the job you did on it. So that really rings with me. It's like, okay, I did good. Well, it has to be finished. That finishes and keeps the 3 layers together. The batting can separate, so you need something to hold the batting in place and keep it together. And it looks nicer when it's quilted. Again, probably back to wanting to upgrade my machine, and knew I would have to make a business out of it to do an investment like this one. And I mean, I enjoy quilting. I love my job. I really, really love my job. Working this machine every day or every other day whenever I get a chance to is real. It's fun. I have a fun job. Well, our children are grown and gone, so there's no issues with having to be, you know, for school stuff or anything like that. It's given us a little more flexibility probably in things we want to do. Relax. Take your time. I mean, things will work out. The first quilt I did was a little baby quilt. It took me 7.5 hours. I was ready to pack up the machine and send it back, thinking I'm not going to be able to do this. And I just finished a king-size quilt, and over 2 days, it probably only took me 6 hours to do it. So It's a learning curve. It was a big learning curve. And just kind of have some patience and it'll come together. Dedication, discipline, and drive. Discipline I have trouble with. Making myself stay and do something, especially working from home. I get a little distracted sometimes, and the discipline I need to work on. If it's your passion and you have the means, go for it. I've never looked back after that first quilt that took me a long time to do. And no, if it's what you really want to do and you can do it, go for it. I mean, it's scary. It was like when he first stopped working for oil field companies and went out on his own, it's like, oh my God, right? Like that regular paycheck isn't there anymore, right? But so far, so good. Customers. And I do have a pretty good customer base right now. Probably, yeah, the driving force behind any business really is customers. So as long as my customers keep bringing me quilts, I'll enjoy my job and send them back to them. Well, most people probably do know that I really enjoy it, but that's the biggest thing. I'm here, I'm available. I do kind of have hours on my Facebook page, but you can call, anytime, and I'll try to fit you in and stuff like that. It's from Bambi, and it is, if you can't say anything nice, don't say anything at all.